president is unhinged. He is unwell. What are you doing?
Folks on your side are too. Folks on your side are too.
It's a big vote of confidence for the president right there. So Madeleine, Democrat, is talking with Mike Johnson there, and little dribs and drabs of their conversation have been gradually coming out. I don't know why the full video didn't. And so she points out that the president's unhinged, which is indisputable at this point. There's some people who like that, but he is unhinged. And Mike Johnson just like looks to the side and nods because he knows. He knows that the guy in charge in the White House that he would never defy or criticize publicly is out of his goddamn mind, likely suffering from actual physical, mental decline, is insane, dictatorial, he knows all that stuff. And his only response is, well, some of the people on your side are too. And I don't know, like I know that everybody just both sides everything these days. Who is our Trump at this point? Are there people that do strange things? Yes, John Fetterman is an interesting guy. I will grant you that. Other than that, who's deranged? Who is just flooding the internet with AI slop every day? Who's sharing medbed videos? Who is our crazy? And when I say like who's our, I'm not even talking about like progressive left or whatever. Give me establishment Democrats, regular old corporate shill Democrats. I'll even let you include them. Some of them are unbearable, corrupt, whatever. They're not Trump. Okay, and so stop hiding behind that. Take stock of the fact that your party has been conquered, colonized by Donald Trump of all people. That reflects poorly on all of us, I will grant you, but it especially reflects poorly on Mike Johnson because he wants to be a leader of this party and yet he must submit to Donald Trump. So anyway, let's see if in the full version of those remarks, he has a little bit better of a defense for the leader of his party.
Folks on your side are too. I don't control.
Oh my God, please. That performance in front of the generals,
I didn't see it.
is so dangerous. You know I serve on foreign affairs and appropriations. It's a collision of those two things. Our allies are looking elsewhere. Our enemies are laughing.
I just left.
You have a president who is unwell.
And she is undoubtedly right there. So what do we have? So he says I don't control him. Yeah, I will grant you do not control him. Nobody controls him. He doesn't control him. I get that. Madeleine is not asking for you to control him. You could try to influence him. You could pretend as if you have power. You could speak out against him. You could disagree with him. You could criticize him. There are many things you could do that did not involve you exercising like, Professor X style mental control of another human. Nobody's asking for that. They're asking for you to do or say literally anything if what Trump is doing and saying is something that you actually disagree with. Because your silence reads as, well, you don't really have a problem with it. And that is the conclusion that I've come to. And so on him generally being unwell, what are you gonna do? I don't control him. On his speech where they call the admirals and the generals, which we'll talk about more later on the show, which is unhinged. And the stuff he said there about using American cities as like trial battlegrounds or whatever, all that insane stuff. Well, I didn't see it. Okay, a follow-up question. Do you think that maybe you should have? Do you think that maybe when the Secretary of Defense and the President pull in like all of our military leaders and might well be announcing a war or something like that, maybe you should like tune in or read? Sometimes Vox will do a great like 3 winners and losers from the fascist military meeting or whatever. Like that doesn't even take that long to read. Axios, very efficient, 500 words or less, you get the gist. I feel like as Speaker of the House, you should probably keep abreast of that. But just in case he didn't see it live, we are gonna just remind him for later viewing of what actually happened there.
Identity of the Department of War. I love the name, I think it's so great. I think it stops wars. And I'm not a fan of some of the ships you do. I'm a very aesthetic person and I don't like some of the ships you're doing. And they said, we'd like to name it the F-47. I said, all right, let me think about it. Then after thinking for about 2 seconds, I said, okay. You know what that means, 47, I'm 47. So I'm 45, 46, and 47, if you think about it. We're under invasion from within. No different than a foreign enemy, but more difficult in many ways because they don't wear uniforms. At least when they're wearing a uniform, you can take them out. These people don't have uniforms. And you know what the people say? The people in those cities where they're being raped and shot and beat up, You know what they say? We love the military. You ever see where they interview the people on the street? I've never seen somebody say they don't, unless they're radical and paid off, because a lot of these insurrectionists are paid by, whether it's Soros or other people.
So it's just insane tangents. His brain is decaying live in front of all of them. He throws in a little bit of Jewish billionaires are controlling anyone who doesn't agree with me. Nice little conspiracy theory there. He's 45, he's 46, he's 47. I don't know exactly which. I think that's his IQ score. I'm not sure. It's just utter madness. And if I was Mike Johnson, I would want to pretend that I didn't know anything about that too, because it's indefensible, which is why he doesn't even try to defend it. Anyway, yeah, as we've thrown out a lot there, I assume you don't have any hope that Mike Johnson is going to move the party or the country in a more responsible direction, but what do you think?
No, I don't think anyone ever really had a whole lot of faith or hope that they placed directly in Mike Johnson. And I'm certainly not that person. But, like what he was saying, he doesn't control Donald Trump. They don't control him, but they certainly support him. They enable him. They make excuses for him all the time. They push his agenda. In fact, the right and the Republican Party, they used to celebrate his unhinged way of speaking because Trump speaks the truth, right? He was transparent. That is what the American people wanted from their leaders. You can't filter him. There's no filter on this guy. And that's what we like. And that's what we're celebrating. And now, just a few years later, this is what that has manifested as. And to be fair, he wasn't that far off from this over the last few years. He's always been unhinged on social media. He has always said strange things to the press at his rallies. He tweeted out "Covfefe." What was that? Was he president when he said that? I don't even know. And then it just went away like that. Like whatever. Yeah, I said it. It was all very disorienting, though, right? It's funny, but it's very disorienting because as the American public, we are constantly confused as to the mental state of our president, for one, but also what does he mean? How serious should we be taking his words? And if you take his words at face value, they are terrifying. But then you have all of his lackeys, either in the right-wing press or from the administration itself, explaining to you what he really meant. Oh, when he said that, what he really meant was this. And I've always said, if the president cannot communicate clearly what his actual intent is, that is a huge problem, because the things he says, not only does it affect everyday lives of the American people, not only does it affect the markets, but it can affect international policy too. The words of the president have a whole lot of weight to them. Maybe they're more weighty than anyone else's words on the planet. And the fact that this man is saying all these things and then he needs numerous people to come out and say, actually, what he meant was this, that is not a vote of confidence. Also, the Republicans now who are running the government on Trump's behalf, in many ways, they're responsible for him and for everything that we are experiencing in this country as the result of the actions of Trump and this administration. Everything that is happening right now is what Trump wants to happen. It's what the Republicans want to happen. It's what the Heritage Foundation wants to happen. So even though Mike Johnson is trying to say, oh, you know what, I can't control him, he is very much complicit in everything that is happening. And Trump is not doing anything that the Republican Party is not happy about. Also, one last thing, John, it's a very small gripe, and I know this isn't the point, but an invasion from within, I don't think that makes semantic sense.
No, it does not.
That's it.
No, he just means that we have people who don't support me in this country.
Yeah.
That's unacceptable. We're gonna use the military against them. And I'm gonna gradually build it up and hype it up and hype it up until eventually I can claim that we are effectively in a civil war and maybe we don't have to have elections anymore. That's really where it feels like it's going. Yeah, I was thinking about it. You know how like they constantly have to like, well, no, but really what he meant is, or no, I didn't see the tweet. I didn't see it. I was just thinking, I could be wrong. Feel free, devil's advocate, if I'm wrong. I'm a supporter of Bernie Sanders. I've never had to lie and pretend, no, I didn't see his speech. I can't comment on that because I didn't, he's never said anything deranged. He's never said anything that I've had to pretend not to be familiar with. But Donald Trump does that to them every goddamn day. Get yourself a president that can actually speak. And again, and he has the reputation of being like straightforward, authentic, honest, and yet he requires more PR spin than any politician in American history. Isn't that strange?